Hello and welcome, this is Oshi and this is going to be the walkthrough of my second Oracle deck, Building Relationships. I'm very pleased with the name because this is a deck, it's a keyword based deck, so no guidebook for this one. But this is a deck that you can use for relationship readings, and my problem with, romantic or, relationship sort of decks, most of them, not all of them obviously, is that it's full of people and it's very, very hard to find a deck with people that includes everybody. It doesn't trigger people with how the people look in the deck. So when I first saw the first card, which is Attraction, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with this deck, but I wasn't sure it would be possible. But what I did was using buildings and human-made structures instead of people. So this is hopefully a very inclusive deck because there are no people. I mean, if there are people, they are just unfortunately there, but they are not part of the picture, so to speak. But yeah, I love looking at buildings. I like these styles of buildings that I picked, and I'm hoping that this can be useful for some of you as well. The size is the same as the Zombie Oracle. It's a make playing card jumbo size. All the information about where to get it is going to be in the description with the flip through as well. So if you just want to see the cards, you don't have to listen to me. What I'm going to do in this one is go through the cards and tell you why I chose the image, what it represents to me. But hopefully with the keywords, this is a very self-explanatory deck. There's 74 cards, but one is the title and there are some alternate cards, so it's about 70 more or so. So it's a bigger deck. It's a chunkier one, but still should be able to shuffle easily because the standard make playing cards card stock is good for shuffling. At least that's my experience with the Zombie Oracle. Okay, what else? So I made this title card, which I didn't make in the Zombie Oracle because I wasn't thinking about that. This is the image that you can download from my website if you want to use it for a tin, even though I'm unsure at this moment if you can get a tin that would fit for 70 cards. So I'm gonna ask Shona because she's the tin queen, and whatever she's gonna say, it's gonna be on the website. So if you can get a tin, I will say it there. If you're not, I will also, make a note somewhere and on make playing cards as well, because I know that people often just link that site, which is not as good because you can't link walkthroughs or additional information really on that site. So I'm very, very grateful if you, decide to share this deck, but if I can ask just this small thing, please link the website so everybody can find the extra images and information about the decks and the Zombie Oracle as well. But so my idea was with this one is it can be used for practicing or checking your edging if you want to edge the deck. Also, I ordered mine in a plain white top box, and I'm thinking about my idea was that you can glue it on this side, or if you fold it a bit at the end, you can glue it on there, or just cut it into stripes and glue it on. You can glue it on, and then it looks better than just a white top box if you don't make bags and whatnot. And I'm sorry if the lighting is not the best, but it's gonna start raining soon here, and who knows when it's ever gonna stop. So I have to quickly make this video before it's getting even darker. So I'm really sorry, but on my screen it looks okay, so hopefully it is. So yeah, title card, the backs. Originally it was meant to be like this, but for some reason make playing cards flipped it. I don't really understand why, because I rotated all the pictures in the same way, so it should have been the right way. And at first I was like, no, my OCD can't handle this. But you know what, I was thinking this is perfect for a deck that's themed relationships, because relationships are not perfect and we have to learn to love the imperfections. So but I'm just saying that, you know, if that bothers you, that, you know, it should be this way and it's not, then I want to be, you know, upfront about it. I don't think it's such a big deal, but, you know, it can be I completely understand if it's a, you know, deal breaker for some. I love this image. I saved it many years ago first, and then, you know, I just put it from one folder to the other and then just kind of deleted it because I never knew what to do with it. It kind of reminds me of dragon scales, I'm not gonna lie, but these are tiles and they are colored and I just love it. And it was, you know, perfect for this one. But yeah, I'm gonna stop blabbering and let's go through the cards. So the first one, attraction. Like I said, this was the first one that I saved. I think it's still on the opening side or page of Pixabay because it's just such an amazing one. And why I chose this is because, of course, it's the Louvre, but this one, this building, and hopefully you can see, it has, you know, a face. It has two eyes and there's a nose, and it kind of is in the shadow. You know, this is in the shadow and just looking at this really, you know, light lit up, very shiny building, and, you know, definitely feeling the attraction, because how could you not? So yeah, that's why I chose this one, and I think it's just perfect for that keyword. Okay, where to that? Okay, I'm gonna put it over there. So next one was authenticity, and like, do I have to even say, like, how could you not be authentic when you're wearing your, you know, hair or something like that this way? Because this part of the building is such a usual sort of brick building, but this part is so cool and so unique, and yeah, I think it's just perfect for this one. And it's a much simpler design than the zombie oracle, but similar because I love layering things. But yeah, baggage, it was, I think when I saw this, it was just so perfect, you know, because it's, for a building, where do you store your shit? In you know, in the attic, and all the old pictures and paintings you don't want to look at anymore, but you still have to deal with them. Building together. Okay, I mean, there's an accidental human, but we don't care because, you know, can't really see. And it's, you know, it's that phase of a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic one, but there, you know, definitely can be used for that one as well. But it's any sort of relationship, you know, because all relationship includes phases, and building together is definitely one. So if you're doing a romantic reading and you're pulling this card, for example, depending on the other cards, and this can be talking about you are at a stage where you can start building together, or there's something missing and you're, you know, this stops and it can start. Change, I chose a plan for it, and my reasoning for that, I know it's not a building, but, you know, it's connected to architecture. It was because this change is more about a change you initiate. It's not about, you know, falling down a tower kind of tarot tower kind of moment. It's about when you decide you're going to change something about yourself, about the relationship, and, you know, you start planning that. And I just love the colors, and I love everything, which is obviously good because it's my deck. Celebration. Do I need to say more? I mean, look at how happy this whole thing is. Oh, I just love it. Commitment. This is, no, you know, it's not a pretty card, but making a commitment doesn't always, you know, looks like celebration. It's the first step that, yes, we're building a house together. We're gonna, you know, create the foundation, and that requires commitment because not every house gets built. Is that how we say it? You know, no, whatever. Not every house is gonna get built up pretty quickly. Sometimes, you know, you run out of money, and you need to go through those phases when your commitment is needed. And also, it's a reminder that when you're actually committing to someone or something, you have to think about if you're really really ready to do it, because if you're not, you can't let the other person just invest everything they have into a relationship when you're just, just saying that, yeah, I want to buy that house with you, and then the other person takes a loan and starts selling their flat, and you're like, well, but I didn't mean it. So you can't do that. I mean, you shouldn't. So yeah, commitment issues. Community, I really like this one, because for me community is, the tight-knit type of community, and everybody is very close to each other because they support and protect each other. And I just really like the idea of, a small town, a really small town with only a few houses. And I know that a lot of people think about small towns like horrible because people are up in your business, but I grew up in a small town, and even though, yes, people, gossip sometimes, growing up in it, I feel supported and safe, and that's what it means to me, and that's what this represents, like support and protection. Confusion, one of my favorite ones, because who the hell knows if that's the sky or it's just the reflection, which way is up, which way is down. And sometimes, you reach a point in the relationship that you have no idea how you feel, and then you have to figure out where is the confusion coming from, and why do you feel like that. Connection, and this is a Hungarian picture because I had to include a picture from Hungary. There are two actually. I mean, there's one in the Zombie Oracle, but that was accidental. I didn't know that the point of view card features a tower that is part of a Hungarian route, which was really cool. After I got the deck printed, I realized that, oh wait, the text on the side of the tower is in Hungarian. So I'm like, oh, okay. But this time I was like, I wanna pick the chain bridge, because this is a really pretty bridge. And I hate Budapest, the capital, because it's such a big city. It's the biggest. But I'm okay. I don't know if I still like to go there, because I don't like really crowded places anymore for obvious reasons. But during summer nights, Budapest is really beautiful. All the lights, the bridges are lit up. So if you visit, I advise to come during summertime, because I think it's much more beautiful. And if you come during summertime, you can go to Lake Balaton as well, which those are the two places that I would suggest visiting first. But yeah, connection between the two parts of the capital, the city. And I think I mean, it looks like a big, whatever it's called. Oh God, what is it called? Postcard. Why was that so hard? So yeah. Content. And I like the simplicity of this picture. You have everything you need. And it's not a lot, in a sense that it's not a big house with a lot of acres or whatever, which for some people that's what they want, and that's how they're gonna get content. But obviously I designed this deck, so it's just how these pictures make me feel. But I like the simplicity in a good way, when you don't have to worry about life, because you have your own little shop and your own little place as a shop, in this part of town, and you're just able to provide for yourself and just be happy and whatnot. And I really like the colors of this one. I mean, I'm considering actually printing this one up and just put it somewhere. Dating. Okay, so it's more about the chairs and the colors than the building itself, but it kind of feels like it's a happy place, and how the chairs are sitting next to each other. It just felt like it's really a place where you could go for date. This is how dating makes me feel. Deception. And this is the other Hungarian one. This is the Vajdahunyad Vára, which is the Vajdahunyad Castle, which is a really pretty place, by the way. I like this one. It's a smaller castle, and you can just walk around, and it has a lake in the park of it. but of course the castle is over there, but this is just the reflection. So someone is not showing their true self. They are they are deceitful. Yeah, I like this one. Dependency. So it's not codependency, because turns out codependency means when two people are using and they are dependent on each other for using a substance together, which I didn't know. I thought that codependency means that you're dependent on someone, but no. I learned that from a psychological show. So I use dependency, and this lamp is dependent on a lot of things. It's dependent on this piece of concrete or whatever it's called, for standing on the, but this chain with the lights that brings the electricity is how I kind of felt this represented dependency so well, because you can stand up tall and shine, but not as brightly as you could. And there could be just a tiny small thing that keeps you at your place, because you're kind of you're dependent on it and you can't move on. I know, I hope this makes sense, but if it doesn't, I can explain it more. But to me, this gives me dependent feelings, because the lamp can, okay, of course the lamps can't walk away, but let's just say that they could. This lamp can't walk away because the leash, so to speak, is only lets it go this far. Okay, the difference between are really this is concrete, by the way. I don't know why would you do that, but hey, this is perfect for this one. Here's nature with a dirt road and grass and everything that I usually prefer, but there's a man-made very sharp building with glass, and like I said, this is all concrete. But this is it's such an interesting card, because you can look at it and see that, hey, besides their differences, they can coexist. Or you can say that, hey, I prefer this one, and I just don't like how they clash together. So, depending on what the reading is all about, it can highlight that there is a difference between the two parties or three parties or whatever. And you have to resolve that difference. But the question is, do you accept that? You have to work on accepting the difference between the two people, or do you have to realize that the difference is too big and you can't resolve that? That's why I think for this one, this image was perfect. Next one is dominance, and I find this picture very telling, because when I looked at it first, I didn't realize that there was a second building here with the exact same shape and everything, because only this one is lit up. You can only see this one because it's clearly dominating the other one, even though they should be equal. They're the same size, even though the perspective is different. I mean, it's from this side, but yeah, they should be equal. They should be both of them should be equally lit up, etc. But this one is much more dominant, and yeah, I think it's also perfect for this keyword. Effort. It's one of the images that I saved because I really liked, and I didn't really know what to make of it at first. But then I realized that there's a storm coming. There's water between the buildings, and it's you can see that it's not calm. But still, this building is making an effort. Although it's still has all these lights and the Christmas tree, and it's like, what, fuck it. The weather is shitty, everything is just not so nice, but I'm gonna make an actual effort, and even in very stormy weathers, I'm gonna do my best to at least make myself happy. And I think that's a card that's gonna probably come up a lot in readings, because when you need to make an effort. And like I said, this can be read in I mean, most cards can be read in different ways, and I'm sure it will be. And this one is just like that, because do you make an effort to make yourself happy? Do you make an effort to cheer someone else up? You can it, depending on the context of the reading, it can be different. equality, also a picture that I saved. And at first it bothered me that, you know, this is not in the middle. But then I realized that, you know what, it's perfect, because equal doesn't mean the same, the exact same. And if you look at them, they created this perfect shape together, and they're similar, very, very similar, but they're not the same. But it doesn't mean that they are not equal, because in creating this part, they are equally there. And they both need it in the exact same way. I hope that makes sense. Okay, expressiveness, also a house I could just move in. I mean, honestly, I love these type of houses. I love the colors, and I wanted somewhere, you know, it talks about you need to be more, not just authentic, because authentic sometimes it just means you don't give a fuck about what other people think. Expressiveness is when you need to show who you are, a bit, you know, wear your heart on your sleeve moment. And I just think it's, you know, for this one it's just perfect, because how can you not, you know, this is an expressive house, and I love it. I don't know who lives in there, but I just perfect. Family, also, you know, however you define it, can be parents and children, it can be just one person who provides for the others, however you know, however it can be a single parent as well. However you know, define family, I think it shows that there are age differences. You know, it can be a grandparent and children, and the grandchild children, you know, it can be anything, but it definitely gives me the family vibe. Forgiveness, I chose this one because for me, when you're able to actually really forgive someone, you're gonna feel much lighter, and you're gonna feel peace and calm. And this these Greek colors really gave me that serene, calm, and, you know, kind of heavenly, but not in a bad way, feeling. But, you know, white light is the most healing light. At least that's what I've been, you know, told many times when I was when someone was treating me with energy. So when I saw this picture, I was like, this, yes, this is forgiveness in a picture for me. Freedom, absolutely. Holiday. I mean, I know not everybody loves to go to holidays, like places like this. I've never been here, but it just looks so beautiful, and the colors, the gradient, oh, it's just perfect. Freedom. Okay, friendship is the first one that we have two of, because I couldn't decide. So the first one, I just liked how this, you know, these two stones are here, and it kind of looks like they are, you know, next to each other, and they are just chatting, and, you know, they planning on doing something like playing together. But I also really like this one, because these are all similar houses but quite different, you know, the sizes, the colors, and everything. But, you know, they stuck together, they are, you know, they are unit, and they definitely give me that school friends type of friendship. And it can be an older friendship when you're more settled, and, you know each other. You don't have to go out and party all the time. I mean, not like everybody who's young have to go out and party. I'm not saying that, but, you know, it gives me a bit you know, a different type of feeling. So, and it didn't change the price of the deck to leave them both, so it's your choice. I absolutely have no idea which one I'm gonna choose. So maybe I'm gonna choose once and then use the other at the side. This is one of my absolute favorite one, just like the brain in the zombie oracle, frustration with the brick wall. Like, how perfect is this one? I'm so proud of myself for this this card. Getting to know. It's about, you know, it's not dating, but it's just like when you're it can be it actually gave me two kind of feeling. One of them is when you start to think about, maybe you're interested in the other person, you know, you want to get to know them. But it also kind of gives me that neighborly feeling when one of the neighbors are, out in their garden and just leaning on the fence, and then someone comes along and they start chatting about the weather or whatever, and they're getting to know each other. So like I said, it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be either way. Gossip, this wasn't originally in the deck. It when I first made it, because I added a few recently, but when I found this picture I was like, this is perfect for gossip. And gossip is a card that when I realized what, because I for this one I had the image first and the keyword was just like, this looks like gossiping people, so that's like perfect, because it's just not good. Growing Old Together, one of my favorites. Okay, there's a lot of favorites, come on. But yeah, I like that, there's wear and tear on the walls, there's paint needed and there's chipping stuff, but they are not, they're next to each other, they connected with wires, and they feel this place, the two buildings felt like they connected in a very how to say that, in a way when there are shops that were always in the neighborhood and you grow up and they still there, they gave me that sort of feeling. And I think growing old together is such a nice thing, if you have someone that you actually choose to grow old with, it's just beautiful. Okay, guarded is also two. One of them is you squished yourself so small that there's nothing on the outside. You don't show anything from yourself. You show a few really bad characteristics because you really want people to stay away, because that this is not a welcoming picture. But the other one is when you're a bit more flashy in a way, but you're using your intricacies and your achievements, for example, to keep people away, because look at how many layers of the door has. So also to that, in a way different. So if you choose to assign a slightly different meaning to them, you can actually keep them both in the deck. Another one that was easy for the has-been. Sometimes we don't want to let go of a relationship, we really think that there is something, but if you look at it from an objective outside point of view, if you can do that, you can see that it's nothing what it was before. It's completely empty and hollow, and like it's been layered with things that you don't even want anymore. It doesn't resemble its previous state anymore, and you just you have to accept that it's no longer working. Healing was also something that I wasn't sure how to do, but I knew that I wanted the rainbow in it because it just gives such a optimistic vibe. There is some rain, obviously, because that's why there's a rainbow, which doesn't really see, or you can't really see it on the card, but I think the rainbow is speaking for itself. And also the fact that this place is guarded, because when you go through a breakup, or you suffer loss, you're gonna obviously start protecting yourself. But there's a chance, there's healing, there's a chance to get things for things to get better. Heartbreak, when you feel empty, hollow, and completely broken and dead, even if the colors are beautiful. And it's not an easy thing to experience, and you just shouldn't stay in a house like this. Now, this was the card that for me works, but I completely understand that churches has a bad reputation for reason. So there is another honesty card, and there's also one that Donna on Facebook suggested that can be used as a substitute for this one. It's called transparency, and I'm gonna show it later. But so honesty, my idea about this one, and like I said, I don't have negative association with the church personally. I obviously don't agree with a lot of things, a lot of them do, but I know that there are people who are doing their best. So I don't want to go and I don't want to be and just say like every religion is just horrible, because it's all about the people. What do you use your religion for, right? But for me, this type of honesty was when you bare your soul in front of a higher power. And this could be what religion is all about. Unfortunately, it's not. But, for me, it works. But because I knew, it's not going to be for everybody. But I wanted to keep it in, because maybe for some it can also work. But because I knew that it's not good for everybody, I chose the story gate, which it's not a building, I know, but this gate is used to when you go through this gate, you're supposed to leave your earthly body and earthly things and whatever behind and transform into a more spiritual space. Because I mean, read up what the gate actually does if you want to know about. But it gave me that same feeling that you're bearing yourself in such a profound way that this is the point where you need to be the absolute honest you can possibly be, because the situation really requires you to be honest. Oh, and it can talk about honesty is missing from the relationship as well. So I'm thinking about keeping one, honesty and transparency, actually. Honeymoon, feeling like you're not part of the real world, because you're in a little cabin in the woods. Everything is fine and amazing. Hope with the light tower. I mean, come on, it's perfect. I love it. Hurting, it's more about the window, but there's rain outside and storm, and you're just feeling really, really bad. And when you're experiencing this, I don't think you need to force yourself out of the room because there's storm outside. So you have to take time to heal and process why you're hurting, and don't do this to other people as well. In progress, because we're all in progress, and a relationship can be in progress. It doesn't have to be and won't be perfect from the get-go. But if you look at it and you acknowledge the process you already reached, the achievements you have, and the areas you need to fix things, and where you started working on things, you can build and you can grow and get better at things. Influence with a castle, because I was my mind went into medieval times when in Europe everybody who had a castle was very, very influential around the land that they owned. So it kind of gave me that a bit more negative kind of influence, but it doesn't have to be. It's more about you're in a position of influence, how you're gonna use it. It can be when two people share their relationships with you or problems, and you can influence the situation. You have to be honest how you're gonna do that. Or it can, if you're doing a reading, this card can indicate that someone else is influencing the situation, and you have to figure out why and who. Issues with the dark clouds. Let go when the house is already collapsing and you're just still thinking that you can fix it, but you need to let it go, because in this form this is no longer working. Loneliness, such a lonely chair. And yeah, and I like this image because not just because it's dark and it's not a nice place to be, because you're lonely, no one is around, no colors, not a lot of light, but the light that coming through, you feel like I'm the only one, I'm on display, because I'm just so lonely that it's pretty much I'm in a separate place when everybody can look at me and be like, oh, you're so lonely, you're alone, no one cares about you because you're own just little tiny thing. because sometimes people think that everybody else looking at them knows how lonely they are, but people often forget that we are fucking great actors when it comes to masking our pain. So it it can be about, it's time to actually try to share yourself a bit more, open up. Meeting, I think it's good. I mean, I don't have to explain, I think, all of them. Naivety with the pink. Don't be naive, but sometimes maybe that's a good thing. Another favorite, negativity. When I saw this, I was like, ooh, I mean, look at those really sharp shapes coming down at you. This is how negativity feels in a picture for me. It doesn't really feel like it's pinning you down and you can't even move because it's just so much and so heavy. But we have new beginnings with two cards. One of them is the stairs, which I like better because of the colors. But the other one is a new house. So these are different. You can choose them, You can choose which one you like. I like the stairs more, but only because of the colors. But with the theme, the buildings, obviously the house works as well. Next stage, I like this image as well. Obviously, I know, but I like how it shows that you're building on something that was already there and you're adding to it. And for some reason, the birds here just made it even better. But are you ready for the next stage in your life? Opportunity. What do you see in it? Do you see an empty room that you have to spend a lot of money on it, or do you see an opportunity where you can create anything you want because there's nothing set in stone in this room? Optimism. It's optimism for me, it's more about, because that's when you need to be optimistic. It's more about when you're in the dark place but you chose to see the light, chose to concentrate on this part of the room and not in the dark one where you're currently in. Because you look outside and you're like, okay, but the sun is there. I can make my way out. Passion. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, this is perfect. This was one of the cards that I saved the earliest. I mean, I know it's folic, it's red, passion. Perfect. Pedestal. Don't put anyone on pedestal because they don't deserve it. Because they're gonna tower over you and you're just gonna feel like tiny thing. Playfulness. Sometimes you just need to play and you need to ease up and just have some fun and maybe visit a home that's upside down, because you can do that. Promise. I think it's one of the most obvious one, because I wanted promise, because it's not commitment. It's the promise that, hey, I'm gonna work on things, I promise you that I'm in for the long term, but in the early stage. Because when you have the commitment, you're already in that relationship where you're supposed to commit, or if you want to. It doesn't have to be marriage, anything like that. It's just how you feel about the relationship. And this is the early stage, when you're dating, and maybe you were dating other people as well, and you say like, okay, but I promise that you go exclusive, and I'm promising you that I'm taking you seriously and I'm not going to do anything to hurt you intentionally. That's the promise. Reciprocity. I just like how this house is part of human nature, and the two can really exist together. It's not like the difference when they are opposing each other, so to speak, and the lines are so clear where one ends and where the other starts. Here everything is just blended into each other, which I really like. reconciliation. It kind of gives me old people vibes in a very good way. But you know, you don't wait until you're old to reconcile things with other people, because that's just not a good thing. Red flags. Like, you know, is this house actually being built, or is it like this forever? And you know, the walls are there to show that, oh, we're building, but we're not actually building. Reflection. And a lot of people suggested windows for the honesty card. When I asked people what honesty means to them in a place, but I couldn't use windows because there's a lot of window in a different way in the deck already. And I like this reflection because you don't really know immediately where one building begins, where the other one is, you know, and you have to know how much you reflect back of the other person. And if you lose yourself, or you just know that, hey, this is me, but I'm reflecting some things back to you, and vice versa. Regret. Like it kind of gives me that feeling that, you know, we wanted to be together, but we didn't do anything, and then everything is just set in stone for so long now that it's just too long. Too much time passed, and you know, we can't change anything anymore. And there's this light coming through, which, you know, it could have been the connection that we didn't work on getting. Retreat. Because sometimes you need to shine a light on your own self, and, you know, protect your light and just go inward. Safety. And I like this one because it's not like guarded, because yes, there is safety, you know, there's the gate and a wall, but the doors are open. So even though you're safe because you have the safety net, you know, set up, you're not closing yourself off from the world, which I think is very important. Self-love is also one that I immediately knew that I wanted this for self-love, but I didn't know why. And then I started thinking about how, you know, there are, I don't know if you can see it from the video, but these are not arches, you know, and you can go through them. And I kind of felt like, you know, self-love isn't just a direct route. You know, you don't start here and then you go here and be like, oh, I love myself. No, it's a very, very slow process for most of us, I think, unfortunately. And you have to go through a lot of road, or, you know, length to reach a place where you can actually love yourself. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't start walking this path, because this is very, very important. And I loved the gentleness of the colors. Also, you know, the white light at the end, which is similar to the forgiveness part, because you can, you know, if you want to think about it like that, when you know, reach a certain point that dealing with the issues that prevents you from loving yourself, you can reach that forgiveness card here as well. So yeah, this was one of the images that I knew that I wanted to have it in, because it just, I had such an emotional reaction to it that I was like, no, this is important. Sensuality was also one of my favorites, because I was kind of hesitant at first, like, how am I gonna, you know, pick a picture of a building that shows sensuality? And here it was. Oh, I know that it's, you know, it's metal, but the shapes, the colors, everything, it's just, I think it just works so well. And you know, if you have issues with sexuality and sensuality, you can just take out the card. That's why this deck is much more easier modified, because with the zombie oracle, I don't think you need to take out anything, but if you want to, it's a smaller deck, so it's a much less option if you know, take out the card. But in this one, if something is triggering to you, you just take it out. Separation, I mean, isn't it perfect? I think it is. Shadow work, for me, this was the opportunity card at first, this and the actual opportunity card. I was just, curious which people prefer, and a lot of people said that when they looked at this one, they immediately felt shadow work, and I was like, oh, okay, because I don't associate dark colors and dark rooms with shadow work, but obviously a lot of people do. So, and when the shadow work comes up, it's time to dig deep into something that either you're dealing with regarding this relationship, or maybe even the two of you are not addressing, that need addressing. Soulmate with Stonehenge, I mean, through time and space they love each other. Doesn't look like they are soulmates for sure. And there's 4 of them, because soulmates doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be friendship, it can be family, it can be a pet. So yeah, or it can be a poly relationship, because who said relationship has to be monogamous? I mean, it does, just because that's a relationship that works for me doesn't mean it works for other people. So with 4, I think we have a room for a lot of people. But if you want to read it just for 2 people, you can do that as well. Stubbornness, I think, is just, I mean, look at how they facing each other, and they just like, I'm not gonna budge either. We're just gonna, it's a stalemate. And usually that's just stupid, and you shouldn't do that. Support is also a 2-card keyword, and for this one, I'm thinking about keeping both, but I didn't want to change the keyword because maybe other people don't see that like that, and I wanted to have you the option to choose if you pick this deck up, because here the support is something that goes through from the outside. Someone else is supporting you to stand up, to be able to stand up, to be able to stay on your feet. With this one, I kind of feel like you're in the place of supporting someone else more. But it can be read, both can be read in a way, interchangeably if you want to. But yeah, like I said, I like both. I think I'm gonna keep it and make that distinction, but it's totally up to you. And we're almost done, and we have Donna's suggestion card here, which I'm very, very grateful, because I wasn't thinking about transparency, but when she said it, I was like, yes, that makes so much sense, especially with, buildings. And unfortunately, it was a very hard to find a glass building, because I wanted one where you can actually really just see through. But those images are not free, unfortunately. But I think this one, especially with the snow, is just such a lovely scene. And yeah, it shows that, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm laying all my cards down the table, all my oracle cards, sorry. And honesty and transparency are not exactly the same. So if you want to, you can keep both, which is what I'm gonna do. But you have this for the other 2 if you don't want to bring any religious or spiritual type of thing into the deck, because I know not all people use decks who has any spiritual practice, so that's completely fine. Now with the trust one, I know there are a lot of people would trust doctors and hospitals and stuff like that. I do not, so I apologize, but I would never pick a hospital or anything like that for trust. My trust in that has been shattered and stamped on, and it's long gone. But I was thinking, what could represent trust? And I didn't want it to be too similar to the support, like where one building is supporting the other, and you have to trust that that building is not gonna fall. So I chose a firefighter station, because I know it doesn't work for everybody, because I'm sure that unfortunately people has negative experiences over there as well. But when I think about firefighters, I still think about the trust that I have that they're gonna come when something is burning. Let's hope, fingers crossed. And I wanted to, and there's not a lot of pictures for fire stations, which kind of sad. So I had to choose one where the car is more visible. I wanted one where you can see the red doors, and which would have been more obvious that it's a fire station. But I did like the picture, and I really like the brownstone, and it's Boston, so a little shout out to New England Patriots. You don't have to, but yeah. So yeah, I chose this one, but hopefully it can work for other people. And I don't know, I just realized, but I mean, it kind of looks like, but it's probably blue. But if I wanna pretend, I'm gonna pretend that the colors on this one is red, white, and green, because that's a Hungarian flag. Ha! I'm sure it's not, but I don't care. I'm gonna pretend. My deck, I can pretend. And the last one is unrequited, which I can't even pronounce, but I'm an expert in this card. And also perfect, because this building is, facing that way, completely oblivious that this one is behind them, and just, would like them to turn around and just look at them and reciprocate the feelings, and it's just not gonna happen. So the rain, everything is just perfect, I think. So yeah, this is the new deck, and let's shuffle, because see, it's shuffled easily. Even though I have, small hands. So I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to shuffle, but I can. And like I said, it's a very slippery cardstock, so you have to... everything is falling down. No, it's not. You have to, pay attention, and I'm sure that some are upside down now, but I kind of want to pull a card, because if you endure this, walkthrough for this, let's just get a card for you. Okay. Oh, look at that, we have freedom. Perfect. Let's all have freedom. Let's all be free to travel and to enjoy life. And the finest thing, I think that's just the perfect message for for these times. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much if you're supporting this deck and me. You don't have to buy it, obviously, but I'm very grateful if you do. But if you can help me share it with other people, and that's a great help as well. So even if you don't buy it, but you think that some people could benefit from it, please do share around, because I really do appreciate that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Maybe the next card. No, the next deck is coming next Halloween. Just saying. I think so. Bye.